Okay. Good job, good job. You guys can stay. You can stay. All right. So today is 9/11, which means at CNN and MSNBC, it's Monday. Because 9/11 is that little thing that paled in comparison to January 6th, right? Now, for those of you under 30, it's probably hard for you to appreciate what a jolt that day was to the country. Not since Pearl Harbor had we taken such a hit on the home front. Here in New York, we were all walking around, watching the skies. Usually, we look at the ground so we don't step on needles, poop, or a passed-out Brian Kilmeade. But 22 years ago, you didn't know what would come next, but you knew the threat was out there. It was a different time. The country pulled together, and our federal agencies actually worked together against al-Qaeda, instead of surveilling parents who complained that their kid's gym teacher wears a bra and a jockstrap. But those people were, by almost any metric, successful. The high point came when Osama bin Laden got a taste of old-time American frontier justice, as Rob O'Neill used automatic weapons to ventilate his turban. Yippee-ki-yay, douchebag. You're not dealing with the French here. Yeah. Then came ISIS, a different version of the threat. The terrorists that Obama called junior varsity, maybe because they're the only dudes he could beat at bowling. But what also came after that? Donald Trump. For those with a memory longer than a week, before Trump came along, we were told by the so-called experts that ISIS was an idea, a destructive ideology that couldn't be killed, much like communism or recycling. Yeah, that felt good. So let me ask you, when was the last time you heard anything about ISIS? Exactly. Carrot Top gets more press, and he hasn't killed anybody lately.
What? That's what he...
Thanks to Trump's willingness to take the gloves off and deal with ISIS in the only language they understand, raw firepower, ISIS was no longer the cool kid on the terrorist block. The beheaders were beheaded. But as ISIS's allure and threat faded, a different threat emerged. Yep, the one that attacks from within, like a burrito. Now it's from the very government who decided terrorism was in the rearview mirror. So instead, we got Crossfire Hurricane, with our national security apparatus turning its firepower on a duly elected president. Now, you know these people. You know their names. 51 of them signed a letter telling us Hunter's laptop was a Russian operation. If you don't know who I'm talking about, just Google politicians who got gigs at CNN. 4 of them had been heads of the CIA. I wonder if any of them ever sent money to a Nigerian prince. And because the media cheerleads them, there's no introspection, there's no hesitation. The Dems just keep coming, but not at the terrorists or the drug cartels. They're not targeting a Taliban resurrecting itself after the shambolic pullout from Afghanistan, a pullout that gave those goat humpers a happier ending than a Midtown massage parlor. Yep, they're actually coming at you and me. To them, school children's parents are the equivalent of the Al-Shabaab brigade. Today, the Dems believe that the Constitution's Bill of Rights was some silly top 10 list tweeted out by BuzzFeed. You know, 10 signs that your cat is a wizard. But the First Amendment, fascism. A recent decision from the Federal Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals found that the White House, CDC, Surgeon General, and FBI had engaged in activities that coerced social media companies into suppressing a broad range of protected political speech. In other words, how dare you question mask and vaccine mandates on social media, you insurrectionist? I'm not sure who's a worse doctor, Dr. Fauci or Dr. Jill. I'd rather get a prostate exam from Dr. Ruth. Very soft hands. Fit a lot up there.
No.
The Second Amendment, optional. New Mexico's governor has decided it doesn't apply in her jurisdiction. I didn't realize it works this way, and it's great. I just decided that I don't need to pay taxes or obey traffic lights. And only a sucker would obey those laws against public nudity. Man, Larry Kudlow had the right idea all along. How about the basic right for self-determination for you and your family? In California, a new bill was just passed that requires parents to take a position on their child's gender in custody cases. What's that, Mr. Smith? You refuse to call your son Billy by his new name, Brittany? Well, say goodbye to your son. Now judges can simply award the kid to whichever parent goes along with childhood self-mutilation, mutilation that the poor kid believes is necessary to get the approval of places like The View. Who would want to transition to a woman after seeing that crew? Unless you want to transition to a men's prison football team. But that's how we determine custody now, following a sick fad with as much scientific evidence as leg warmers, if leg warmers made you cut your kid's feet off. Now, please don't make me go through all the other amendments. That guy, Trace McGillicuddy, or whatever his name is, has to come on after us. But as we close out another 9/11, remember what occurred that day and recall that the real threats to this country used to remain from outside and not from within. You know, before our brain-dead president and his minion of Marxist maggots took the helm, we need to wake up to the fact that Biden and the progressives continue to focus their firepower not externally, but on all of us. You don't believe me? Well, as Joe returns from the G20 with a pile of policy initiatives telling us what horrible, polluting people we are, he will also be the first president not to attend one of the 9/11 site memorials. Maybe because the real threat to Biden isn't terror, it's any working microphone.
Remember the famous song, Good Morning Vietnam? Well, good evening, Vietnam. The Indian looks at John Wayne and points to the Union soldier and says, he's a lion, dog-faced pony soldier. But I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. The third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access to change it, it wasn't confrontational at all. You can't look at me.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like an extra long Oscar speech. But, it must be tough minding the store when you don't have much of a mind left. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's the #1 reason to show up late for a prayer breakfast. South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace. He lives every day like it's laundry day. Founder of the LoftusParty.com, Michael Loftus. As a former gymnast, she preps for every broadcast by chalking up. Outkick host Charlie Arnold. He's so strong he could lift a car to save people he doesn't like. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyrus. Congresswoman, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. We're big fans of you.
Likewise. My mom's a big fan.
It's always the mom.
Always the mom.
It's never the hot daughter.
Your mom loves Tyrus.
Maybe
she has a hot mom. You don't
Yes, she is.
all of you.
How old's your mother?
She's 80. Well, just turned
Tyrus. It's Tyrus.
She just had a birthday. She turned
Tyrus.
81 last week. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet she's very, very attractive, elegant, and sophisticated.
she's stunning.
And
Yeah.
loves Tyrus.
Tyrus, share some.
No, all the blue hairs are mine.
Do you sense a trend here going on with when you see what's going on in New Mexico, you see the speech stuff, you see the private property somehow just disappearing and no one cares?
Yeah, we're entering a constitutional crisis, essentially. And when you watch the press conference in Hanoi from yesterday, I mean, it's only a matter of time until we have President Kamala, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very scary. We look weak on the world stage. It's not good for America.
Yeah. What do you make of this whole thing with the Second Amendment stuff? Is that?
Well, we're seeing even Democrats condemn.
Do you think it's a trial balloon?
I don't know if it's a trial balloon, but I definitely know that we are breaching this crisis with the Constitution. What does it mean? She should obviously be impeached.
Yes.
But Democrats are even condemning this. You just can't erase the Constitution. I mean, that's not how this works.
We should murder her with the Bill of Rights.
I like that idea. That's
love and hugs.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Michael, as a lesbian homeless person, has the government also been targeting your freedoms and your rights?
They don't stop.
And please give generously. For just $15 a day, you can save a homeless lesbian. I will be there. Okay. I like how the government is actively censoring people on Facebook, just like trampling First Amendment rights. And everybody's like, what are you going to do? They do that now. This is insane. And someone needs to go to jail. It's like we've become numb to this stuff ever since, like, the Patriot Act and the FISA courts. But, like, there's these huge, like, nuclear lies that America's just like, oh, well, what are you going to do? That's how they are now. It's like we're now living in misery. The movie Misery, and the intelligence agency is Kathy Bates, and she just comes in and hobbles us every morning, and we're like, oh well, that's what they do. They frame people.
Is it Misery or is it Beavis and Butthead? Sometimes I get confused.
It's a hard time figuring out which one's Butthead.
Right.
You know I think just tech, social media has got us so filled up that we're letting these rights go because we're too busy checking Instagram and whatnot. Do you think it's not Joe's fault? He's gone, right, Charlie? I mean, he's like he really is like the principal in South Park at this point.
As far as Joe is concerned, I think that might have been his best performance yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he just had, from beginning to end, it was just filled with so many delights. I mean, the fact that he told us all he was going to bed, I mean, it looked like he was exhausted up there. I mean, all of the talking he had to do. He had to correct the reporter, don't forget, because she said a word wrong, because Joe never says anything wrong, right?
No.
He made all those weird jokes. Just everything from top to bottom was very strange.
I hate weird jokes.
Yeah.
What?
Do you hate bad jokes? That's really...
You know what? The thing that's scary, and you mentioned this, Nancy, is that Kamala could be next, right?
Oh,
You know, there's rumors now that the candidate for the Democrats isn't going to be Kamala. It's going to be Michelle Obama.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
that's been going around
now.
forever. And the thing is, I just think Barack is, I don't know, he's gaining some wisdom. I mean, Barack loves men chinning his wife, but I don't think she wants politics.
I don't
You
know.
look so terrified.
I don't know. I don't know what I can say here.
How do you come back from that? How do you come out back from that? I mean...
There's a lot of things that go on in that family that I am very unsure about. I just saw some pictures also of the daughters running around this
Smoking and
then in the weird clothing. I'm like, what is going on here? This is just not what you'd expect from the family of a former president. But listen,
you know what?
I don't make the rules here.
No, you don't.
I don't make any of them.
No, I make the rules here, Charlie, and don't forget that. All right, thank you. They're applauding the fact that I'm a dictator.
See,
They
that's
love
where we
fascism.
are
They
in
love
America.
fascism.
When will America say that's enough, Tyrus?
Oh, they're not speaking our language, so it doesn't really matter. Here's how cold they are to President Biden. They let him bring out a microphone to do a speech. They had 2 microphones waiting for him. That's how much they care about the president. I have my own. If it was a fight, it went 2 rounds too long. As soon as he said hello, it should have been, thank you, good night, God bless, thanks for coming out. They should have thrown a white towel on when he said my favorite song, Good Morning, Vietnam.
It's
a movie. And that wasn't the point. That's just what the radio guy said.
Yes.
And then he said, now it's good evening, Vietnam. And then that's when it should have ended. That was probably his best out. He's gone. You know what else they did? They didn't have his giant telemarket teleprompters that's on both sides. Because, usually when he talks, he does this. He had nothing to read. So, and he had his cards, but he didn't have his bifocals on. Or 8 focals, probably. So they're done with him. They're done with him. And it is misery, but you have it wrong. Kamala is the woman from Misery. And she's torturing him. Let me lay the facts down. That weird cackle, you see Misery? You dirty bird. That sounds very Kamala. Right? Weird one day, happy the next day, mad the next day. He's getting worse. She's probably putting a little something in that, soup in the morning. So,
Joe, I'm your
Misery.
biggest fan.
Yeah, I'm your biggest fan. Let's go on the school bus. Woo! So, all that aside, that woman who did that, made that thing about the Constitution is the impeachment should have been yesterday. But again, this is all our fault. Start looking at who you're voting for. Quit voting for somebody. You make equity votes, I don't want to hear you complain.
Amen.
We just saw that where it was in California where they all got together and they wanted a whole city council of Muslim Americans in the office. And guess what? They didn't support ulterior lifestyles. And they were like, how could they do this? Did you bother to meet who you were voting in? Because of their religious beliefs might influence the way they think? Stop making equity votes.
All right, we got to move on.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.